In this video, I'm going to go through a couple of roasts on the SRM5E, starting with the warm-up. So this is a totally cold machine. So we're going to go through the warm-up, we're going to roast a batch, we're going to let the between batch protocol do its thing, and then we're going to roast another batch. And we'll just show it all from start to finish. We're going to come over here to the control panel. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set our blower velocity to, I usually set it at 90 for the warm-up. And we're going to enable the fan. That's going to start the blower. We're going to enable the heat. And then we're going to press BBP start, which is going to start our warm-up. So we'll do that now. So you can see here we have a set point now of 245 on our chamber temperature. So our roaster is going to heat up until we reach that set point. We're at 71 degrees Fahrenheit right now. So I've got it graphing on the artisan screen as well. So you can see our inlet temperature is going to go way up, and we're going to watch our chamber temperature, which is right over here. And it's also shown as a dark blue line on the screen. That's going to slowly start rising up as we go through our warm-up. So let's go over what just happened here. This dark green line is the chamber wall temperature. That's the temperature of the actual steel in the roast chamber. So our inlet temperature, which is this red line, got pretty hot. Up here close to 650 degrees at the end. 650 is what it tops out at. If it reaches 650, it just holds there. So our chamber temperature heated up, and we actually heated up past our set point. Then the heat cut off, and we actually cooled down back down to our set point. And then after that, we switched to looking at the bean temperature probe, and we're going to hold the air inside the roast chamber at right around 350 degrees. So it's kind of cool to see these temperatures all kind of work together, so you can see how flat this chamber wall temperature is in correlation with the bean temperature. So if we hold the bean temperature probe at 350, the chamber wall stays right around target, and it's just going to hold that until you're ready to charge your beans. So that's what we'll do next. We'll drop in our beans and we'll start the roast. I have a full 5 kilogram batch here. So we're going to unlatch the hopper lid here. We're going to make sure this slide gate is closed. Drop in our 5 kilos. We're going to close and latch the lid. And then we're going to open this slide gate and press the start roast button. So I already have the profile loaded that I want to use. We're using ITBT profile. The process for actually executing the roast is going to be basically identical no matter which mode you're using. Just make sure you select the right roast mode and the right profile you want to use. And then once you have that set, you're just going to drop in your beans. I'm going to set my fan speed down to 80. We're going to drop in the beans, we're going to press start roast, and then the machine will take over from there. I usually leave this gate open. I go over and put in my information. And once I do that, you can close this slide gate again. That makes sure everything's strained out, gives you a little bit of time just to make sure. I'll bring the camera over here and we'll take a look at what it looks like on the screen. So here on the screen you can see we have an inlet temperature with a set point of 475. We're currently holding 476. We're running the test profile and we're on step 1 of that profile. Our fan speed is at 75%, which comes from the profile. And there you can see our burner output. And the roast timer. This is our development percentage that we're shooting for, development time ratio. I'm going for 15% on this batch of beans. I actually might bump that up to 16. And so we're on step 1, so we'll just go in here and look at that. This is ITBT mode. Step 1, we're supposed to hold 475, air velocity of 75, until we've reached a bean temperature of 230. So if we go back here, we can see our bean temperature is 219. We're climbing up to that 230 mark. I'll show you what it looks like on the artisan graph now. The light green line here is our actual burner percentage. So this is how much heat we're putting to the heating elements. The red line is our inlet temperature. You can see we're holding our 475. This black line is actually our target bean temperature. So you can see we reached our target bean temperature and we moved to our next step, which gives us a new target bean temperature and a new inlet temperature set point. So that just executed there. If we come back over here, we'll be able to see that now we're on step 2 of that profile. We're 3 minutes into the roast. We have a good bean movement, so you can visualize that. Just kind of make sure things are flowing down here nicely. You don't want things to get kind of stalled out and just start sitting here for too long. You want to just make sure you have a nice, steady rotation of beans. You can also see that here in the front. You want to make sure that your beans are getting all the way up to the top of this window as they loft up and go around. On smaller batches, you want to make sure that you're not so high that you're starting to get them to shoot out the exhaust, which is not terribly easy to do that, but it can happen. So now that we have all that set, we have our auto drop set. We're running our profile, so now we just sit back and let the roaster do its thing. You can see we've moved on to step 3 now, and we're just about to switch to step 4. You can see how the inlet temperature is stepping through those set points. Just before the end of the roast, the fan for the bean cooler is going to automatically turn on. That makes sure we're ready to suck out any smoke as the beans exit the roaster into the cooling tray. So let's take a look at the graph while that cools. We have automatically entered the between batch protocol. So right now the heat is off, where our heat is set at 0. And we're just cooling off the roast chamber until it gets back down to our set point. This was a 12-minute and 30-second roast. And I want to speed that up on the next one. So I'm going to make a couple of changes to our profile, and we'll roast the next full batch. So here in profiles, I'm just going to add, maybe add 10 degrees to each of these. So 485, 510, 545, 550, 560, 'Then we're going to save the profile. We'll go back to our main screen, and we're just going to do the same thing over again. So you can see how our chamber temperature is coming back down. And then in just a little bit, we're going to heat back up and hold that chamber temperature, which actually just started that right now. So I'm going to load up our next batch of beans and we'll roast them. I have a little indicator on the screen. It says BBP ready. It means we're ready to start the next batch. And if you can see on the screen, it's holding our charge temperature of 350 degrees on the bean temp. So we're just going to drop them in and go. Press start roast. Away we go. The bean cooler is going to automatically shut off after a predetermined amount of time. Which is right now. I feel like this roast could be going a little faster, so I'm going to add another 10 degrees of temperature to the inlet. Sometimes the auto drop doesn't get quite all the beans out. You could just open the handle a little bit to let those stragglers out. So as you can see, that was 2 back-to-back roasts on the SRM5E. They were full batches. We weren't even close to maxed out on the power. I think if I would run another batch of that, I'd add a lot more heat right here in the beginning, try to get this rate of rise to carry out a little bit better. But overall, I'm happy.